Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by LA Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Back to life, back to reality. This is episode 20 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. It's great to be able to bring you another exciting episode. I'm your host, LA Blackwell. Hope all listeners out there are doing well. I'm very glad to be joined by my co-host, Danny D. How you doing, Danny D?
I'm good, LA. I'm good. How's everything with you, man?
I'm well. Everything going good. As usual, I'm also joined by my other fellow co-host, Flo. How you been, Flo?
LA, I'm very good today, man. How you doing today?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Also, before we begin our next segment, make sure to look at our official Facebook page and Twitter account, Knicks_fandom. You will find on our notes section a recent New York Knicks article entitled The 6-Point Plan to Improve the Knicks for the 2017-2018 by our very own Flo. I think you'll find it very interesting and informative as it pertains to his personal perspective. Moreover, make sure to check these sources often as we will continue to update them with various articles and posts in upcoming days and weeks. Now, for our regularly scheduled segment, it's Tip Off. As usual, this is a short segment where we each usually pick one personal topic that we've been thinking about and would like to discuss in a group format. The topic may pertain to any type of NBA or sports related topic that we may find interesting, and in turn, hopefully you, the listener, will find it also interesting. To start off for us this week, Danny D, you have anything to discuss regarding our tip-off segment?
Yes, I do. They have an article that was written by Thomas Newman from the ESPN on Satnam Singh, who was the first Indian-born player to be drafted. And basically, Dallas Mavericks drafted this guy in 2015. And right now, he's playing for the Dallas D League in Texas. So it's a very interesting article because not only was he the first Indian-born player to be drafted in the NBA, he was the first player since 2005 to enter the draft without playing overseas or college. And he's the first to be drafted from high school after the age restriction that was put on the NBA. So he's a 7-foot center who was born in India, and he came to the States when he was 14 from a high school in IMG. They gave him a scholarship. He didn't speak any English, and he tried to go to college, but he was ineligible according to the NCAA rule. So right now, he's just working on his game, and he's trying to progress to make it to the NBA. So they just did an interesting article to see how he was doing, how he was developing. Right now, he's still working on some footwork, and also the trainers like Vin Baker wants him to lose 40 pounds because right now the centers are very athletic, and he was 298. They don't have the Shaqs no more. The centers have to learn how to block, shoot, and run the floor. So he's trying to develop on his game so he can hopefully make it to the NBA for the first Indian player out there. Try the ball out there. How do you guys feel about that?
Very interesting. Okay, Danny D, thank you. Just thinking offhand, I didn't even notice that Vin Baker. I don't know if I have him to be watching my play regarding the weight issue. I know that came through.
Hey man, do as I say, not as I do, brother.
Exactly. But kind of remind me of Brandon Jennings. Went away for a while, but he did an extended thing. So it's kind of more like Arvydas Sabonis, and they brought him back when he was older. Not sure. I've never really heard of him before. I haven't really seen him, so I'm not sure his quality of play. But just looking at the marketing-wise, there's a huge opportunity for them with India, it's being one of the most populated places in the whole world. So definitely can understand it from that perspective. But what you think about it, Flo, from your perspective as well?
Well, that's an excellent job by the Dallas Mavericks, drafting him. I wish him all the best luck. Hopefully he's able to develop properly, and I hope to see him in the NBA within the next 3 years.
Okay. Thank you, Flo. Appreciate that. How about you, Danny D, since you brought up this topic?
That's very good. He's coming out there. It's a big. You can see that the NBA. It's not the NBA. It's a big business. IMG has a relation with India, so they're just trying to market, bring players over, and they develop them. Develop players 7 foot, working his hand skills and things like that. A couple of years, Dallas is going to have a new center. Hopefully, he can do it and make his country proud.
Okay. But what does that leave on Nerlens Noel? That's the thing I'm thinking about, too.
Oh, not it leaves Nerlens that he's going to continue to start because this kid is still developing. He still has to lose weight. He still has to get up with the pace of the game and has to do that. Nerlens is a bona fide star. This guy is still working on the hand speed, the quickness, and things like that. So the age projection that they really thought, he's 21 right now. They say he might need another 3 or 4 years, actually, before they move him up to see what he can do. And plus, they're going to have him on a cheap contract, so who knows? Okay,
that sounds good. Got you. Thank you very much again. All right, Flo, how about you? You got anything to discuss? We going to tip-off?
LA, definitely I do. I have 2 topics to discuss, but I want to talk about this one specifically here.
Okay, that's fine.
According to Mike Shariki of the Bleacher Report, the Los Angeles Lakers will bench small forward Luol Deng and center Timofey Mozgov for the rest of the season. Currently, the Lakers have the second worst record in the NBA with a record of 20-47. What do you guys feel about the Lakers tanking their season right now currently?
I'll let you start, Danny D. How about you? What do you think about it?
You got Magic there. They want to they're tanking because they want to get a deep draft this year, and they're trying to get some better players so they can make a run. So they don't want to win no games. They want to tank, and they want to just move up, get more lottery balls, and get a bona fide star in the draft. Try to get in the rankings and compete in that hard West Division.
Yeah, I concur, man. This is what everybody doing right now. Ain't that much time left in the season. It's less than 20 games for a lot of people. And you've seen it with the San Antonio Spurs. People forget that. But I remember when David Robinson was supposedly still injured, and they let him sit on the bench to try to get on Tim Duncan. And it actually worked out for him because Boston was supposed to get him that year. They had the worst record overall, I believe. So, tanking and the way the NBA is set up, it's been happening like this for years. I'm not a big fan of it, but hey, as a Knicks fan right now, I'm hoping they start tanking more myself. So, do what you can do at this point. None of these teams don't win anything, so it's about acquiring assets is the best way you possibly can within the rules of the league. How about you, Flo? What you think about that overall?
The one good thing about them tanking the season, it allows them to evaluate 2 players, Brandon Ingram and also Ivica Zubac. So that's definitely a good thing. But also, by you benching your veterans, remember, keep in mind you gave both of these players over $100 million, in a contract. But their main purpose right now is they're trying to go after Mr. Ball from UCLA. That's the guy they want, the point guard from UCLA.
Okay, Lonzo Ball. All right, thank you, Flo. What's your other topic you had?
I don't know if you guys remember in a previous podcast, I mentioned that the Phoenix Suns was benching Brandon Knight and also Tyson Chandler. Now they have decided to bench Eric Bledsoe for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, Bledsoe wasn't too happy about it, but with Phoenix, they're also tanking. How do you guys feel about this also?
Oh, I'm fine for it. I saw an article about that as well. I saw Tyson Chandler was also on another topic regarding that. They asked him, they really wanted to trade him. And they asked, was he open to it? And he said no. Kind of shockingly, if he wanted to be traded to a contender, and he said he'd rather stay here and help this team build. So I don't think he's going away anytime soon. But, that's what Phoenix is trying to do. They're trying to get more pieces as well. So that's what everybody's trying to do right now, in my opinion. That's out of the playoff position and things of that nature. What you think about that, Danny D?
I agree, because that's what I'm saying. What we playing for? We ain't playing just to win games to get in the AFC. We trying to win. That's the main goal and objective. Try to win games, move up, win some playoff series, and try to win a chip. That's the main goal.
Very true, very true. Anything else you want to add to that, Flo?
No, definitely I agree with both of you guys. That's the most important thing. If you're going to tank the season when you don't have a shot at the AFC, then might as well just tank the whole season. See if you can get a top 5 lottery pick. Nothing wrong with that. I hope Mr. Phil Jackson is taking notes.
Hey, man. We'll get into that as we get more into the episode as well. But thank you, Flo. Much appreciated. And fellas, for my tip-off topic, basically it's Mr. Dwight Howard of the Atlanta Hawks. I saw in a recent article by Christy Chappelli, and it was stated that Dwight basically says, "No doubt I belong in Hall of Fame." And I quote, "No doubt it's kind of got swept under the rug because of the perception of all the things that happened in Orlando. All the media stuff," Howard said. "If you look at basketball itself, and I don't ever talk about myself, but winning 3 Defensive Player of the Year trophies had never been done. Leading the league in rebounding 6 straight years, all that kind of stuff. I think that deserves it." Howard also revealed he wants to play 7 more seasons in the NBA with the goal of reaching 20 years in the league, adding he wouldn't mind spending the remainder of his career in Atlanta, his hometown. "I would love to," Howard said. "I just got a nice place out in the country. I don't want to leave it for 8 months out of the year just to see it for 3. I would love to." Howard, 31, has averaged a double-double of 17.5 points and 12.7 rebounds for his career. The 8-time All-Star is averaging 13.1 points and 12.9 rebounds per game with the Hawks this season. So basically, Phil, what you think? You think he's a bona fide Hall of Famer right now, or he got a couple more years, or he just blowing smoke? Start with you, Danny D. What you think?
I might have to agree. I might have to agree with Dwight. Based on his numbers and things like that, I might have to go with him. Because, all right, let me do a compare. I recently saw a topic with that. So do you guys think that Reggie Miller should be in the top 50 players, a Hall of Famer?
I don't think he's top 50, but I think the combination of his whole career probably would put him in the Hall of Fame. I have to look at the numbers, though, just offhand. What you think, Flo?
All right. So I'll do a little breakdown of what they're saying. No, this is good. I'm going to do a little breakdown of what they're saying. Because remember, Reggie Miller played 18 seasons, right? Mm-hmm. Dwight is playing 13 seasons so far.
Right.
So they did a little bit of breakdown. They said All-Star games. Dwight made 8 All-Star games. Reggie made 5. All NBA first team, Dwight Howard, 5. Reggie Miller, 0. All NBA teams, Dwight, 8. Reggie Miller, 3. All defensive team, we already know. Dwight, 4. Reggie Miller, 0. All defensive team, Dwight 5, Reggie 0. Defensive Player of the Year, you know Dwight got that, is 3. Rebounding, 5. Block leader shot is 2. And this is comparing stats, you know. So I don't know. That's just accolades right now. Just the accolades. That's just me. They're comparing Reggie Miller to Dwight Howard. That was that I saw a little article that they had.
Do you have Reggie's career averages, like scoring wise?
Mm-hmm. I would have. Let's see. I just want to break it down. Just give me a sec. Y'all want the playoff stats, or y'all just want the just best season?
I take the best season, like overall.
The best season. So best season that they had, no game minimum. They had Dwight with average 22, Reggie average 24, 14 rebounds for Dwight, 3 for Reggie, assists per game. Dwight had 1, Reggie had 4. And that's about it. And then blocks, you know, Dwight's going to beat Reggie on that.
Yeah, exactly. Center. I understand. And I know the All-Star game is hard to really count that. It's kind of a popularity contest sometimes, so hard to go by that as well. But definitely Dwight Howard's number looked much better than Reggie looking at it overall with that. And just the eye test, I would think so. I would think you have to be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's going to get there anyway. I'm not sure if he's there now. Just look at the numbers, you might say it. I just have to look at it, you know, a little more. Just look at it a little more specifically, certain things, to see what other players that have been there that's in his position as well. What about you, Flo? What you think?
How many years Dwight Howard's been in the league now? 13 years?
13.
Yeah. What's his field goal percentage? And also what's his how many blocks does he have in his career? Like, where is blocks rank all time?
Blocks right now, let me see. Field goal, they have him at .589 field goal percentage.
Okay. And where do you know where is he ranked in blocks overall in his career?
No, don't have that.
No. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Any specific reason?
Definitely, he's a Hall of Famer. With Dwight, he's been one of those guys that is consistent with his rebounding, doing the dirty work, and blocking shots. He's been doing that constantly. Ever since Shaquille O'Neal left the Orlando Magic to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, the Orlando Magic franchise has always belonged to Dwight Howard. I think definitely he is a Hall of Famer. Bona fide Hall of Famer.
Okay, thank you. I believe he averaged about 2 point blocks per game. So, just looking at some of the things I saw, I think he pretty much would get it. Just looking at it right now, anyway. But glad Mr. Howard thinks so highly of himself. So, we'll see as it goes on. But that was our tip-off segment right there, fellas. Thank you very much. And that leads us right into our next segment, which would be our hot topic. And for our hot topic today, we're going to discuss some of the possible great NBA careers that have been cut short by injuries, as well as some present players that we are concerned about regarding their future prospects regarding injuries as well. Some of the best NBA careers that were ruined and or shortened by injuries, in my opinion, in my top 10 would be Greg Oden, Jay Williams, Danny Manning, Ralph Sampson, Brandon Roy, Yao Ming, Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, Bill Walton, and Maurice Stokes. Danny D, what are your thoughts regarding some of these players? And we'd like to add any players to the list that come to mind regarding injuries or shortened careers that didn't quite live up to what they could have been?
Oh, yeah, that list, I like your list and things like that. Talk about Greg Oden. They called him Mr. Glass. He was injured when he was in college. And he come out and play and made it in the NBA and just couldn't get it together. And for that, I like that list. But I'm going to add two more people on that list. One of my favorite people, I hope y'all guys remember, Flau in L.A. Do you remember T.J. Ford?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Milwaukee Bucks and Toronto Raptors.
Remember Spot? He just couldn't get right. He had the injury, and the last time he played, he was with the Spurs. Baron Davis caught a rebound, hit him in the back. If it was anybody else, TJ would have got up and things like that. But the injuries and things like that, TJ just couldn't do it, man. The man was nasty. He can ball. Just look him up, man. TJ Ford. He runs a clinic now, a basketball clinic, and he's doing good right now. And another person. What about Jonathan Bender?
Oh yeah. I remember him too. High draft pick, not high draft pick, was on one of the young guys that was coming out a lot that didn't go out of high school and things of that nature.
Messed up his knee. Messed his knee up. But the thing is, a good story about Jonathan Bender is that he created apparatus to help out your knee joints, and he became a millionaire off of that. So he's doing quite well for himself.
Yeah, I did see that.
Injuries cut short, man. They could have had great careers.
Yeah, as the cautionary tale reverse Kevin Garnett that people worry about, We're glad it worked out for him in the long run so far. How about you, Flo? Thank you, Danny D, with that. How about you, Flo? Anybody you want to add to the, players that's, career might have been cut short, or any players that we name currently that you'd like to discuss?
Brandon Roy is one player, that was considered like the franchise for the Portland Trailblazers. And unfortunately, due to the injuries, various knee injuries, he had to give up the game of basketball. Currently, right now, he's coaching, I believe, and he's doing an excellent job. So I wish him nothing but the best. Love and success to Mr. Brandon Roy. Penny Hardaway is another player I was always a big fan of. I honestly believe if Penny never got hurt, he should be at the level where Kobe Bryant is right now today. A Hall of Famer.
Most definitely. He was big time back then. Had the little Penny commercials going on. Penny was definitely, and he put up some crazy numbers too in this short time. And even I just wrote something down regarding that. He's a 4-time NBA All-Star. And during that injury year, I think 95, 96 with Shaq. The Magic went 17-5 when Shaq was out. He averaged 27 points, 6.5 assists, and 5-point rebounds, and 2 steals with 1 block. And that's with Shaq not even being there. So Penny was a monster with that, man. You didn't really get to see everything he could have did before he got hurt, too. Anything else you want to add to that, Flo, with Penny or anybody else?
I think one more player I think we left out that we should have mentioned. T-Mac, Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, he definitely got cut short, too. Only thing with him, I think you saw a lot of what he's going to be before he got hurt. Like, you got to see a good piece of him as a franchise. That's the only thing. But he definitely going to be one of the top 50 before that. Anything you want to add with that, Danny D?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Tracy McGrady, man. Those guys, just unfortunate, man. Just unfortunate that it had to happen that way for these guys, man, because they really, really had a bright future ahead. You throw in the Darius Miles and things like of that nature. But yeah, man, very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's the tough part about the NBA. It's like the average career is only like 5 years, I think, anyway. But seeing the talent that some of these guys had and just not being totally fulfilled. I just think looking at that list, the players that really stand out of that whole list to me is like you said, Penny, Brandon Roy. I also think Ralph Sampson, to see what he's going to be with Hakeem. That was like the original Twin Towers back then, And the guy, he averaged like 21 and 11 as a rookie. And that was crazy. Just seeing that. But with him and Hakeem they could have at least won 3 or 4 championships, I think. And also think the other player that really stood out was Grant Hill. I mean, he played a lot of years after, I think 18 or something. But he never was a player he was when he first came out. He was like the third pick overall. And he has like 19.9 points, 6.4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.77 steals, I think, in the rookie year. And that's crazy just starting with that, A 7-time NBA All-Star. He was like Pippen but like a better scorer than me with that, And see how Pippen made the top 50. I'm sure he would have made it. And then just looking at some other things I looked at before, his ankle injury. He's one of the few players that's averaged 9,000 points, 3,000 rebounds, and 2,000 assists. Only players that averaged that was Oscar Robertson, Bird, and LeBron James. So you put them in some rare air when you do stuff like that, And that was just one of the things I was looking at. And trying to think anything else that was there. Bill Walton was another one that was a player that really didn't get to live up to what you thought he was too coming out of college. He has like 30-0 2 times in UCLA. So, he's going to be like one of the best centers probably ever before that. And you got a glimpse of that with Boston. They won a ring. But overall, he never lived up to what you thought he was going to be leaving college. Just tough, man. This is a tough thing. And just looking at coming up these draft and lottery, you put so much hope in these players and you just never know how it's going to end up, And that's the main thing. Just, NBA, they give it and they take it. But regarding that, just one other thing I want to talk about regarding injuries. Just some of the present-day players that you might be concerned about regarding their future prospects and present injury history. In my mind, some of the top 3 players right now I'll be thinking about in that regard is Jabari Parker, Derrick Rose, and Zach LaVine. Starting with you, D.D., what are your thoughts regarding these players, and would you like to add any players to this list?
Yeah, definitely Jabari, because Jabari, that's his second injury to the same knee tear as ACL. And then how his game is very dynamic. He does sharp cuts. He jumps. He moves a lot of polymetrics on the court. Hopefully the young man can get his head right and just focus on it because it's a long and strenuous process. The same thing for Zach LaVine. Derrick Rose, he's been through it, so hopefully he can keep it together. And then also the people I want to add on that, let's add Chatham Parler. Chandler Parson on there from Dallas. He injured his knee again. His third knee injury in the last 3 years. After he got big money, injured himself again.
And he's out for the season. Got to go through surgery. Yeah. He's out for the season. Just got back. Yep, out done for the season. That's another great person we can put on this is your boy, the process, man, Joel Embiid, man. Oh, man.
What we're gonna do?
I hope not, man. Because this guy got a lot of skill,
a
lot of raw talent.
A lot of raw talent. The thing is, like me and Flo, we discussed before in the beginning. It's a process of, go to the best doctors in the world, things like that. You have to listen to the weight-bearing precautions and things of that nature. You have to follow what the doctor says. And, if they say stay off of it, you got to stay off of it. The main thing is you to heal, come back strong as ever. You got to follow the orders and the precaution tells because it's a one thing when you're 21, jumping around, things like that. But as you get older in your 40s and your 50s, you don't know what's going to happen. So you gotta rest, got to do the proper nutrition. You got to follow the guidelines. And, they're not doing it to be mean or things like that. It's just for your best interest.
Exactly. Thank you, D. Flo, what are your thoughts regarding these players? And would you like to add any players to this list?
Yeah, Danny mentioned a player I wanted to add it, which was actually Chandler Parsons. And this is courtesy of Wikipedia and NBA.com. Chandler Parsons in his fifth season in the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks, played 61 games, and he had a knee injury where he tore his meniscus in his right knee. And this season with the Memphis Grizzlies, after he signed his 4-year, $94 million max contract, he played 34 games, and he had a partial tear of his medial meniscus in his left knee. So here's a guy who's, on the verge of being a bust. In regards to Jabari Parker, it's unfortunate. He's played 3 years in the NBA. He tore his ACL in his rookie season because he only played 25 games in his rookie season. And he's in his third season in the NBA. He only played 51 games. Again, he tore his ACL in his left knee. Same injury. 2 injuries in his first 3 NBA seasons. In regards to Zach LaVine, he is currently in his third season in the NBA. 47 games this season he's only played in, which in his sophomore season, he played all 82 games. Now, with Mr. Rose, 5th season in the league, he missed the entire season with a left knee injury. 6th season in the league, played 10 games, injury to his right knee. So, again, hopefully Rose is coming back healthy and strong. Right now, he's played 60 games this year with the Knicks. Last season with the Bulls, which is his 8th season in the NBA, he played 66 games. So he's on verge of surpassing that number real soon. It's unfortunate with Jabari Parker and also with Zach LaVine. Hopefully, I wish them a speedy recovery. With Derrick Rose, hopefully he continues to stay healthy. I wish him much success, whether he stays with the Knicks or whether he moves on to another NBA team. Chandler Parsons, major bust right now. It's unfortunate, but he's a major bust.
Okay, Flo, thank you very much. I concur with the most part with everyone's saying. I think Parsons is going to be a bust unless he turns it around. I just don't think he has at least hasn't shown it right now, the focus to really want to come back. It seems like he likes the party and the party life a little too much sometimes. So maybe this might make him, wake up in that regards and get a little more focus right now. But for Rose, I saw one thing that was kind of interesting. He'll be like the first player I read somewhere that actually made the MVP, was the league MVP, and didn't end up in the Hall of Fame, I think. And I thought that was something interesting to see that. If he doesn't get back to the type of career he had before that, injuries and things of that nature. So that's something to keep an eye on and see if that actually occurs. It's a little early. I think his time is up with the Knicks, but he still got time. He still could be a productive player for other players. I just don't think he's going to reach the level he had before at this point. But that's my final thoughts regarding that hot topic. Much appreciated, fellas. And before we get to our next segment, I'd like to take care of some housekeeping issues. Immediately following the break, we'll jump right into our next segment known as Weekly Knicks Roundup. First, a big thank you to our listeners out there. We appreciate one of you for tuning into our podcast. Please make sure to subscribe in iTunes and our brand new YouTube channel. We're really trying to move in those rankings as subscription plays a big part in their ranking systems. Feel free to share our podcast with your family and friends. It would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, our show can also be found on Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Casts, as well as SoundCloud. If you'd like to reach us directly, be sure to contact us on our Facebook page and our new email address, Knicksfandom@gmail.com, as well as our brand new Twitter account, Knicks_fandom. Thanks again. Now back to our regularly scheduled podcast. And we're back. Now it's time for our next segment, which is known as the Weekly Knicks Roundup. On Tuesday, March 14th, the Knicks had a home game against the Pacers, which they won 87-81. On Thursday, on the 16th, they had a home game against the Nets, which they lost 121-110. Their next game, as the time of this recording, would be on March 20th against the Clippers. Therefore, the Knicks went 1-1 the previous game since our previous podcast. Knicks total record now stands at 27-42, a 16-18 home record, 11-24 on the road. 12th place if the playoffs start at this moment. What are your main thoughts that stand out regarding the Knicks and the overall play regarding their last game since our previous podcast? Starting with you, Danny D. What you think about the Knicks right now?
The Knicks are the same place, guys. Coach Hornacek said he basically gave up hope of trying to make the playoffs. And my thing, fellas, I'm trying to figure out, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to do the chase to try to get that 8th spot from Milwaukee, or are we trying to tank to get a lottery pick? Which one are we trying to do right now?
Man, we tanking like the singer, brother. That's it. I'm not trying to get no part of the 8th spot. I don't want to see nobody. No playoffs, no LeBron, no nothing. Y'all had your chance. I'm done with it. You could put Melo, say he hurt. Just put everybody that's not going to be a star down the road. Let Porzingis play. Let Hernan Gomez play. Kuzminskas or Quinn. Everybody else can sit down, man. That's it. Tell me you got a hyperextended knee. I don't care at this point. I'm done.
I don't know what the thing is. Hornacek still got players on the bench with DMPs. Did not play. Why are they not playing? Why?
That makes no sense.
Why
man.
is this?
Of course, you got there every game.
They should be in the games. Yeah, that's what.
I don't get it, man. Thank you, D. What you think about it, Flo? Before we get to specific games issues.
Well, that's the problem, like I said earlier before, with the $60 million intern, Phil Jackson. I said it and I said it again. It's time for this team right now to tank the season. So what I'm trying to say right now is do not play Carmelo Anthony. Let him rest. Shut him down for the entire season. I would love to have that number 2, number 3 pick. I definitely would love that. What the Knicks should be doing, and I hope Coach Hornacek, I hope you're really listening for tomorrow's game against the Clippers. You should start Ron Baker at the 2. Shut down Courtney Lee for the rest of the season. You let Derrick Rose start at the point guard because he's auditioning for other teams. So you let him start at the point. But you got to make sure if the game becomes a blowout early where the Clippers are up like halftime by 20, then you let Chaz Randle start the second half of the game. In regards to the 5 position, you start Billy Hernan Gomez. At the 4, you either play my man Porzingis for a couple minutes, but you got to make sure you put Marshall Plumlee and Kyle O'Quinn as part of the rotation and make sure they get their minutes, especially Marshall Plumlee. I want to see what this guy can do. He should be playing more right now. Also, Maurice Stokes needs to be playing more. I don't want to see Sasha Vucic on the floor. I don't want to see Carmelo Anthony on the floor. I don't want to see Courtney Lee on the floor. Also, I want to see more Kuz. Let him play. Let him start. Let him start at the 3 instead of starting Lance Thomas. Shut down Lance Thomas for the rest of the season. I understand he's healthy now, but shut him down. Rest him. He has nothing to prove to nobody right now. He's got to prove his contract next year, not this year. I don't want to see Joe Kindle anywhere on this team right now. He should be rehabbing on his knee injury. Just had surgery. Follow the doctor's orders. Get better. Like Danny mentioned before earlier in this podcast. Make sure you're following the nutritionist. You're following the trainer in terms of what your workout regimen is. And make sure that they're evaluating you properly. I just want to see more youngsters play now. Let them start. You didn't do anything with the veterans, so why are you even playing them right now? It's a waste of time. You haven't even won 2 games in a row since December. You guys won 1, lose 1. 1-1, lose 1. Stop it. Enough already. Knicks fans are tired of being tortured. Just play the youngsters right now. Tank the season. Let's get a top 3 draft pick, and let's move on from there. Let's get a building piece to go along with Porzingis and Willie Hernan Gomez. I want to see more Ron Baker. I want to see what he can do. If he's a potential bench player, that's fine. Right now, start him for the rest of the season. I don't need to see Courtney Lee anymore. Rest him up for next season. That's it. No more. Knicks fans are tired of being tortured. Enough. No mas.
Thank you, Flo. Hey, preach it to the choir, man. What you think about Danny D? Any specific game-wise or play-wise that stands out during the previous games or overall where the Knicks are at?
Well, overall, the Pacers game, which I thought they were going to lose, they end up winning. Willie Hernan Gomez did his thing, man. He was going out there playing. Ron Baker, I'm seeing him getting in stucky face, playing some heart, going out there with some heart. And, they're really doing their thing. But then also, back-to-back, we're awful when it comes to a back-to-back. I don't know, do the rest. They just don't have the energy when it's a back-to-back game. You might as well put that as a certified loss unless it's a back-to-back with the Knicks. It's a loss. They don't even show it's a loss.
That's true. It's like the whole NBA, though. I don't know. There's a lot going on in ESPN I've read. Everybody's complaining about these back-to-back. I don't know what's going on with that, man. It's like a lot of these players that they having a lot of issues. Even with the good teams, they're losing back to back. So definitely hear where you're coming from with that.
Karl Malone said, yeah, they should start being babies and stuff like that. Play. I was like, okay, Karl Malone, you got a player.
I heard. I'm gonna leave the mailman alone with that one. He got his own issues.
Hey,
outside
man,
the court.
that's a whole other topic.
We
got you, mailman. We got you.
We gonna have something for that. We talk some off the court stuff down the road. You know. Put it this way, he don't always deliver, man. Let's put it that way. You know.
What you say about the children, man? What you say?
Hey, I'm just saying he don't always deliver, man. I'm gonna leave it like that. Deliver them checks, brother. Deliver them checks, man. That's all I can say.
He deliver girls though.
Hey, I'm not going there. You know, we'll say that for uncut.
My daughter, man.
Oh man, but I hear you, man. But you know, regarding the Knicks, I saw Billy Hernangomez. I just looking at that game against the Nets. That's the one thing I was looking at. It makes me nervous with certain things. He has a good game. He has a bad game. He was 2 for 7 that game, 6 rebounds, 5 fouls again though. He can't play defense, man. He really can't. He doesn't move his feet well with that. And he was a negative 18 and a plus minus. That's something you got to worry about if you are actually going to put him as a starter, which I don't think him and Porzingis play out there at the same time. I really don't. So, but O'Quinn played well that game, 23.8 rebounds. So I'm looking for stuff like that, you know, at this point. The players that is going to be here next year and players that are going to have a bigger role next year. That's the thing I was looking at. Also, the other game before that with the Pacers, that was a bad game for the Knicks just because they won. We don't need them winning no games with that. It's like, why you winning that type of game? Melo had a good game. Well, at this point, it don't really matter with that. But the main thing I was looking at that game was Jeff Teague because he's one of the guys I'm thinking that could be they pursue in free agency. Didn't play well at all in that game. 4-15, 1 of 6 from 3-point land, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 7 turnovers. That ain't going to get it done. So Derrick Rose actually outplayed him in that game with 16 points, 7 of 12, and 2 boards and 4 assists. So that's the one thing I took from that game that I was really trying to pay attention to. Also, Porzingis didn't play well in that game. He only had 3 blocks, and which was good, but he had 5 of 17, which wasn't good as well, 1 of 6 from 3-point land. So those things I'm trying to see the development of the players down the road, and just overall play with like the certain lineups they have, Porzingis and Kaminsky, and Hernangomez, see if that's actually going to work, or you actually have to see one of them on the bench. So that's the things I'm trying to look at for the rest of the season because they basically put playing out the string at this point to me. Anything else y'all fellas want to add to the weekly Knicks roundup?
Yes.
Go ahead, Flo.
LA, I don't know if you got a chance. There was an article in the paper, and I apologize. I believe it was the New York Post where they interviewed Jeff Teague. I apologize. I don't remember the writer that wrote the article. But Teague had mentioned that a couple years ago when he was on the trading block, he had called his brother up talking about how would you feel about me playing in New York? And his brother was like, yeah, go for it. If the opportunity presents itself, you get traded in New York, go for it, And he was very open-minded of coming to New York if the opportunity presented himself to play with the Knicks. Now, you mentioned LA earlier that he will be a free agent in this year, which is pretty good. I believe he's currently making $8 million this year with the Indiana Pacers. He's from Indiana. But they asked him a specific question about playing against the Knicks now. And he said that, and now not only he mentioned this, but also other current NBA players have mentioned this, it's so easy to defend against the triangle.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous. I'm really nervous when I start to hear players talking about defending against the triangle. It makes me wonder, why are we still playing this system that's so antiquated? Why is fellas so in love with this system?
That's his bread and butter, That's what Ted Winters, I believe, told him about. That was his main mentor. That's what he knows. I just hope he just realized it ain't the system; it's the players. Players is what got you them rings. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, man. You could have them just playing any of that pickup, rolling, all that stuff. It didn't matter. As long as you had them players, you're going to be in some championship contention. That just organized it and made them play better on some occasion. But at the end of the day, it was the players. You had Hall of Famers, you're going to be in some championship games. That's just the end of it. So hopefully he'll realize that more than anything else to me. But go ahead, D.
What you talking about, man? It's bona fide, player. What are you talking about, man? Count them. You know how many rings I got with the triangle?
Yeah. How many rings he got without a Hall of Famer? None. He hasn't got any rings since he didn't have a Hall of Fame player on his team, man. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And you've been doing the triangle. So something got to give. The triangle, you're still using it, but all of a sudden you don't have the Hall of Fame players, and now the Knicks not making the playoffs. So what does that tell me?
Man, listen, I'm the mastermind behind it. It's just taking some hits right now. I got rings to prove it. It's evidence-based research, man. I got rings, man. Look it up. Google me. Well, I'm Phil.
It's like the Wizard of Oz, man. Smokes and mirrors right now. What do you think, Flo?
All right. Ellie, let me add to this. If Mr. Phil Jackson is listening, since you're such a genius with this triangle offense and you have 11 rings to show for it, how come you have yet to recruit a major free agent like a LaMarcus Aldridge? What have you done since you've been here 3 years working for MSG? Who's you recruited? Who's your big major free agent? Joakim Noah. That's all. Joakim Noah. That's all you got to show for your 11 rings. Joakim Noah. Your big name free agent acquisition. Come on, man. Come on, Phil. Come on, Phil. And speaking of Phil, another thing, I'm tired of reading articles about your buddy, Mr. Charlie Rose, and again, throwing Carmelo Anthony under the bus. I'm sick and tired of reading this. It's very disrespectful. And not only that, it's making me wonder in the back of my head, when Porzingis is a free agent in a couple years, will he resign with the Knicks? Because he's already speaking on behalf of Carmelo Anthony. I think Carmelo Anthony is tired of talking. Enough is enough with Melo. He doesn't want to be bothered anymore with this nonsense, with the melodrama. I'm looking at Porzingis. I'm saying to myself, you know what? He's probably thinking about leaving in a couple years if Phil don't get this straightened out right now. The mess that he's created since he's been here at Madison Square Garden as a $60 million intern. 3 years, 3 losing seasons. Before Carmelo Anthony, well, let me correct that. Before Phil Jackson came to New York, Carmelo Anthony was here. Carmelo Anthony made the playoffs every year in a Knick uniform until Mr. Jackson came over here. So enough of this nonsense. Mr. Rosen, enough. We don't want to hear from you anymore. Knick fans do not want to hear from you at all. Please, go away. We're tired of your articles. We're tired of the bashing of Carmelo Anthony. We're tired. We don't want to be bothered anymore. If you don't have nothing positive to say about Carmelo Anthony, leave him alone. Don't say nothing at all. Have some respect. Show some class.
I hear you, man. That's the sound of frustration right there. That's all that is. And, well worth it right at this point. Knicks fans deserve better, and the city deserves better at this point. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen as the games finish up and we get to the playoff push, which I don't think the Knicks have no part of it. I want that draft pick. As one thing you did say that stood out as well was the KP. I think you do have to worry about that a little bit, but I think the big thing, he's going to get more money for signing with us and the Knicks overall, so that's always a big push. But you also got to make sure you hit a home run with this draft pick, I think, right now. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on this draft pick and this free agency because Melo's not the future of the team at this point. So at the worst, once Melo decides to leave or retires or whatever have you, or his contract is up, it's about this draft pick and this free agency players you get in the next 2 years. That's what's going to make KP decide if he want to stay or not, as well as the money he's going to get most for re-sign with the Knicks. So if you hit, those out of the park, I think there's a good chance that KP is going to stay at that point. But like you said, you don't know how it's going to be with the Phil Jackson situation, if you're going to keep alienating people. That's the thing you have to worry about. But that's all I got to say regarding our weekly Knicks roundup. Unless you guys got anything else that you want to add, then that would conclude our weekly Knicks roundup. And that would just put us into our closing remarks. So closing remarks for our show, start with you, Danny D.
I want to thank everybody. Thank you guys. Thank the listeners. Keep on subscribing, showing love on Twitter, on YouTube and Speaker. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. Thanks, guys.
Much appreciated as always, Danny D. How about you, Flo? You got any closing remarks for today's show?
LA, definitely. I want to thank all the listeners. Please continue to subscribe and support this show, Knicksfandom. This is for Knick fans and for all NBA fans. A great show, A-list show for A-list fans. Also, I want to thank both of you gentlemen for allowing me to be part of this great show. Definitely, I appreciate it.
As always, we appreciate as well, Flo. Until next time, as always, a big thank you to my co-hosts. As always, our loyal listeners. We hope you enjoyed it. I did. Please continue to spread the word. Have a great week. Take it easy and see ya.